Let's jump right into this one, because today we are unpacking something truly chilling. We're looking at a narrative that perfectly blends real-world systemic issues with the supernatural. Welcome to this explainer on a place that has become infamous in local lore. Settle in because we're going on a psychological roller coaster to uncover the mystery of Ramganj Station, or, as it's known to those who whisper about it, Ramganj Station Ka Raz. It is quite literally a real horror story in Hindi, where human actions and ghostly consequences crash right into each other in the most terrifying way. Now, I want you to just imagine this for a second. You step off a late-night train. The door slides shut behind you, the engine fades off into the distance, and suddenly, you're left in absolute, suffocating silence. That's Ramganj Station after dark. It's completely isolated, a solid 10 kilometers away from the nearest village. But you see, this isolation isn't just about geography. It is driven by pure, deep-seated fear. Locals absolutely refuse to step foot anywhere near this place at night. So when our protagonist, Ashika, arrives for her new posting as the station master, she's probably expecting a quiet evening. But instead, she finds an abandoned platform, a locked office, and this heavy atmosphere of unseen eyes watching her every move. And right away, we see this really stark contrast in Ashika's situation. On one hand, you have pure privilege. The source material tells us Ashika didn't exactly earn this job through hard work. Actually, on the day of her interview, she woke up late, casually strolled past a bench packed with hopeful candidates, and just walked right in. The interviewer literally told her she was only getting this railway posting because of her father's influence. Handed an offer letter, no punctuality required. But look at her current reality. All that privilege means absolutely nothing when you're stranded on a pitch-black, deserted platform. She sits down on a bench, drifts into this terrifying nightmare about a woman with hair completely covering her face, telling her to leave, and wakes up to find a creepy, disheveled watchman standing right over her, dangling the keys to her new office. Okay, let's dive into this next part because it gets incredibly unsettling. The watchman unlocks the station master's office, casually mentioning it had been sealed by the police. When the flickering lights finally hum on, the room is just a mess. There are three eerie signs of a very sudden, very violent departure. Number 1, a smashed TV. Number 2, plates of completely rotten food just sitting on the desk. And 3, stale cigarettes scattered everywhere. Ashika is instantly irritated, right? She demands to know why her new workspace is so filthy. And that's when the watchman drops a terrifying little detail. The previous station master met a gruesome end right under the wheels of a train. The office was sealed the exact day he died, leaving everything frozen in his final moments. Obviously, Ashika wants answers. Why is the station so empty? Why are the locals so terrified? The watchman starts shifting nervously and gives this really hasty explanation. Basically, he claims the station is haunted. He completely dismisses it, saying some mad woman committed suicide by lying down on the tracks a while back, and ever since, the station's been cursed. Terrible things keep happening. And he says all this with zero empathy, just totally brushes her off as some crazy woman who caused a bunch of trouble. Then he practically scrambles for the door, telling Ashika there's no way he's staying in a cursed station overnight and that he'll be back at 10 a.m. sharp. So Ashika, who's just annoyed by the mess and the whole ghost story routine, lets him go. The watchman turns his back, starts walking away into the dark, and then his phone rings. He answers it, probably expecting a totally normal call. But the voice on the other end, it belongs to Ashika, the real Ashika. Through the phone, she's complaining about city life, saying, "My plan for today was canceled, so I'll arrive tomorrow by 12 p.m. Please open the office then." At this point, the watchman's blood must have run completely cold, because if the woman on the phone is miles away, who or what is standing right behind him in that office? He slowly turns around in absolute terror. And that confident, annoyed young woman he thought was the new station master? She drops the disguise. The entity in the office morphs, revealing its true, horrifying form. She looks dead at this trembling man and asks one spine-chilling question. "What did you say? I was crazy?" The watchman just collapses to his knees. He's begging for his life, pleading for forgiveness, suddenly realizing that he is trapped completely alone in the middle of nowhere with the exact spirit he was just insulting. Let's step back a second and see how this all builds, because this haunting didn't just happen out of thin air. It is rooted in a really profound systemic tragedy. If we look at the timeline, about 8 weeks ago, a hardworking guy named Ramesh scored the absolute highest marks in the railway exams. He rushed home thrilled, telling his wife Geeta that their future was finally secure and they could afford a good school for their daughter, Moonmi. But just a week later, when Ramesh showed up for his final interview, he found out his rightful job had been handed to someone with way lower marks. Why? Simple high-level connections. The sheer injustice of that corruption completely broke Ramesh. Unable to bear it, he tragically took his own life. And shortly after, absolutely crushed by grief and that same injustice, Geeta also met a tragic end on the train tracks. We really need to understand the depth of the despair here. Before Ramesh passed, he left a devastating suicide note. It read, "This world is very bad. Here, only those who have reached the top move forward. Forgive me, Geeta, I couldn't give you a good life. Take care of money." And this brilliantly illustrates why all of this matters. The horror in this explainer isn't just about jump scares or ghosts in the dark, it's about the fatal impact of nepotism and unfairness on everyday families. The entire ghost story is heavily grounded in the heartbreaking reality of a stolen livelihood. So, you might be wondering, why target the watchman? Out of everyone, why was he the one trapped in that office? Well, after Ramesh's death, a grieving Geeta actually went to that Ramganj Station master's office. She wasn't there to cause trouble. She went to literally beg for justice. She cried out that the person sitting in that chair had stolen her husband's job, and she demanded they be removed. But instead of showing even a tiny ounce of compassion, the watchman completely ignored her. Worse, he physically grabbed Geeta and forcefully shoved her out of the station. It was that final, brutal rejection that pushed Geeta over the edge, leading her to end her life on those very tracks outside. Geeta didn't just cross over. She became tethered to that station, patiently waiting for revenge. And tonight, that vengeance is finally fulfilled. The spirit of Geeta, disguised as the new station master, grabs the terrified watchman by the throat. She tightens her grip, making sure he remembers his cruelty. She whispers to him that the corrupt officer who stole the job has already been punished. That was the previous station master who died under the train. Now, she tells him, it's your turn. And right as she says that, the deafening horn of a late-night train echoes through the dark. The ghost forces the watchman onto the tracks, making absolutely sure he pays the ultimate price for silencing her plea. The night finally passes, and the dark secrets of Ramganj Station are seemingly washed away by the morning sun. Fast forward a bit, and a train pulls into the now sunny, deserted platform. Stepping out of the cars is the real Ashika, the very girl who, thanks to her father's influence, snagged a job over much more deserving candidates. She's just standing there on the quiet platform, completely unaware of the horrifying bloodbath from the night before, and totally clueless about the dark, tragic history tied to her brand new title. Ashika starts walking toward her new office, looking around for someone to let her in, and out of the shadows steps a woman. She calmly asks, "You're Ashika, right? I'm the new station master here. Let me open the office for you." It is Geeta's ghost, seamlessly sliding into a brand new role. Ashika, completely oblivious, blindly follows her right into the station. Which brings us to a final, pretty chilling question. What happens now? I mean, Geeta already punished the officer who stole the job and the watchman who threw her out. But Ashika, she is the literal embodiment of the exact nepotism that ruined Geeta's family to begin with. So is this cycle of revenge truly over? Or did Ashika just walk straight into a trap she will never escape? It definitely leaves you wondering just how deep the curse of Ramganj Station really goes.